the only person I could rely on was myself. The other day, I caught myself mid-sentence staring over my kids and yet again giving them a 5-minute lecture on how they should act as children. In that moment, I realized I'm not even teaching them anymore. I'm just terrified. I'm terrified of failing them. I am terrified as a parent. I am terrified of letting people down. I'm terrified of letting myself down. If you are a parent who is constantly feeling like if you're not fixing it or managing it or correcting it, then everything's going to fall apart. Then what I want you to do is go grab a cup of coffee, grab something to drink, and have a sit down with me, because I want to talk about distorted responsibilities and how to give it back to God before we burn out our kids and ourselves like I've already have. I've been digging into the reasons why I hold on to control so much. And what I've realized is that in the process, I have been asking myself the questions: the who, the what, the when, the why, and the how. You remember back in school when they would have you structure speeches and they'd have you do all those things? Okay, well, this isn't going to be a speech, but I did need to ask myself all those different questions to be able to figure out why in the world I've been doing all this. I had to ask those questions, those hard questions, in order that if I wanted any of this to change, then I had to ask the hard truths. I need to grab a hold of all of it if I'm going to release it to God. In the past, I was never able to fix any of it, and there was many reasons why. One, I never handed it over to God. Second, I just didn't understand why I was doing it. I knew I was doing it, but I didn't have a clue why I was doing it. There was no picture in my head of what caused it, why I was doing it, just that I was. And after asking myself all these questions, I came to the conclusion that I had built this up myself by allowing myself to put on all the pressure on myself instead of having my other partners in the past take on responsibilities. I end up taking on all the responsibilities myself, and in the process I end up feeling that if I didn't do that myself, then things were going to fall apart. I had to rely on everything all on my own because I didn't have a support system to help me. There was nobody to rely on. So I chose that, or in my mind, the only person I could rely on was myself. Which now looking back about it, that's really sad. And this went on for years. And then over time, it just became part of my personality. It became a part of me because I didn't recognize the signs. I didn't recognize why I was doing any of these things. It just was. And so if you watched any of my previous videos, I was taught one of them is 8 kids with an 22 year identity crisis. That's a long time. That's a long time to not know who you are because you get yourself so stuck in a routine and a comfort zone or an identity issue because of these things that you've built up in your mind about how to function because of lack of something else. And I don't want my children to have these issues or fears or feel like in 22 years they're going to have an identity crisis. I want them to know exactly who they are. I want them to have a support system. I want them to recognize it early on before it captures them. And I'm making this video because I want to speak to you too. I want you guys to be able to recognize signs and be able to fix things before it takes hold of you and you get too far ahead. My control issues don't consist because I wanted power. They consist because I'm just terrified. I'm terrified of failing. And I'm terrified of many, many things. My brain is falsely telling me that if my kids mess up, then it's a reflection of me as a parent. So in my mind, I can't let my kids mess up. I think society's helped with that to a huge degree because there's social media, there's all these different things telling you that if your kids mess up, then the parents are responsible. And to some degree, I agree with that. But kids have to learn things. And if they don't learn them, then then they have nothing to grow off of. And how is that fair? They need room to be able to grow. And they need room to make mistakes. And they need room just like anybody else. Our failures of humans is what captures us into making growth. Without that, then we're perfect, and that just doesn't make sense. You can't be perfect. Nobody is perfect. My distorted responsibility has led me to that if I don't hold everything together, then everything's going to shatter. And that's simply just not true. Life will go on. Your daily routines will go on. Everything is just a season in your life. And I have come to know that and come to believe that, but somewhere still in my mind, even if it's just a second or just a moment, my brain is telling me when something is starting to go down, like in that moment, all hell is basically going to break loose on me. I was accidentally playing God. Not intentionally, which is then a form of idolatry, a modern form of idolatry, without even realizing it. And that breaks my heart because I don't want to take God's place. I don't intend to. I know I can't do a better job than Him. But in those moments, I don't know. I guess I think that I can in those moments because I got to grab that control. Surrendering my control doesn't mean I'm going to become passive or lazy or even give up parenting. But it does mean that I am going to shift my ownership back over to stewardship and give back God his rights to lead and to be the masterpiece, because I failed tremendously, and I'm just leaving myself feeling empty and unfulfilled and feeling like I'm failing as a parent. And that's not the case. I'm not failing as a parent. I'm just trying to step out of my own lane that I wasn't designed for. I thought that my loud words could change their hearts faster and quicker than God can, faster than His grace can. So now, how do we actually fix this? How do we actually stop those angry lectures and actually hand this over in real time to God? Because it's one thing that on Sundays you hand it over to God, and then on Tuesday when your kids is throwing a shoe. Completely different scenarios. there is this one framework that I've been testing out, and it's been helping a little bit, help me catch myself. So there's 4 steps to it, and it is to retrain my brain and my heart. And so the first one is to catch the trigger. So in that exact moment, when you recognize the trigger, and your heart starts to race, and your brain starts screaming that you have to fix this like right now, that is basically your cue to stop. Just pause altogether. Step 2, which is to open your hands. Like literally just open your hands. Yeah, easy enough, right? When that panic, you do this when that panic hits, right after that pause. Just open up your hands, place them off to this, down to your sides. And then 2 basically is, once you do open up your palms, it's a symbol basically of surrender, because you can't hold your fist in anger and surrender to God at the same time. So it's a physical technique of surrendering. Step 3, you breathe in and you say, "They are yours, Lord." And exhale, "I release the outcome to you." This shifts your mind into shifting away from your own anxiety and into releasing it to God. Basically, it just reminds you that who's in charge. Step 4 is basically just use only 10 words or less. Just simple words to your children. Because that's where my biggest issues of control is when I get angry in my lectures, is when it comes to like chores and stuff like that. When we lecture, we are filling up the room with anger, and we're in that process. We are filling it up so much that there's no room for God to work. I mean, we're leaving absolutely no room for the Holy Spirit to do anything in there. So by speaking less, we're able to, 1, calm our nerve system down and let our children see what God can actually do in their lives. Look, I'm right here in the trenches with you if you're going through any of this type of stuff yourself. I haven't mastered any of this. I'm still going to have my moments. If you have seen one of my recent videos, I 12, what was it called? 12 questions I asked my kids, and they give the honest answers. They mentioned that I became less controlling. And oh my goodness, I really hope they were just being honest and they weren't just trying to be nice to me. Because sometimes I feel like I'm still right there. I know there's been changes. I know there has been, because I've been feeling the shifts, because I've been catching myself. And the moments that I'm in doubt, I know that's just the devil trying to play tricks on me to make me start doubting myself, and so then I can fall back into it and just give up on it altogether. So here's the thing. God doesn't expect us to be perfect parents. He just expects us to be faithful stewards. Our kids don't need perfect parents who never mess up. They need parents who say, "I'm human," and that I'm anxious, and that are willing to admit to their mistakes. That's how they grow too, by seeing it be done, being modeled in front of them. Also, just letting it be known that you trust God more than you trust yourself. If this resonates with you, please push like, so other overwhelmed parents can be able to get an opportunity to see this video. And please subscribe. More videos are coming, and I'm excited about this journey, because this channel has changed me in many ways. It's been forcing me to open up and to take a bigger look at things, and not just this channel, but trying to grow closer to God. It's forcing me to look past my own little box and my comfort zone. And I am so thankful for it. So I am hoping that you guys will follow along and follow my journey, because I'm excited to see where it leads us, not just me, but my family as well. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later. Bye.